today we'll get started sitting down. So if you're cool sitting with your legs crossed, sitting with your legs crossed in Sukhasana, easy pose. Otherwise, we can sit with our legs directly out in front of us, sit back on your heels, whatever feels good. We're going to be focusing on the upper body first. So let's take a moment to especially catch the breath, especially if you're a little bit out of breath at the moment. Just starting to slow down, lengthen your breath. Knowing that especially if you've just smashed out a really hard workout, you might be a little bit like all over the place, but just knowing that some really deep belly breaths kind of take our nervous system from a state of stress, which exercise puts us in, it's good stress, into a place of rest and digest, a relaxed state. So some nice deep belly breaths are a beautiful thing to do, especially if you work out late at night. And help you have a restful, restorative sleep. So as you are lengthening your breath, focusing on really using your belly muscles to help you breathe, thinking about softening the face, softening the shoulders. This is your time to chill. And when you're ready, let's just start to take a few rolls of the shoulders, just circling. Big circles, small circles, whatever. And take your circles in the other direction as well. Gentle movement. Beautiful. From here, let's take our right hand, place fingertips to the floor. Think about that right shoulder being super heavy. And we're going to take our left ear towards the left shoulder. You can even start to spider those right fingertips away from you. And you can personalize this stretch by perhaps turning the head down or turning the head up. Kind of having a play with that movement and then just seeing where your traps go. Yep, that's it. That's the spot. For me, it's right here. I'm going to hold here for 1 or 2 more breaths. Beautiful work. Let's bring the head back up through center. That same arm, right arm, we're going to reach it across the body over to the left side. Left hand comes beside us or perhaps behind us as we twist across the body, taking the gaze over to the left. We're using that front arm as a little bit of leverage. Some deep breaths here as well, knowing that our muscles that help us breathe also influence a lot of what goes on in our neck, our shoulders, our torso. One last big breath in here. And as you exhale, releasing your grip, let's come slowly back through center. Let's take the left fingertips out to the side. Thinking about that left shoulder being super heavy, drop right ear to right shoulder. Again, you might be quite happy here, otherwise you can have a play with turning the chin down, turning the chin up, finding that sweet spot, that perfect stretch for you. Finding some length through the side of the neck, side of the shoulder. When you're ready, gently bringing the head back up through center. Let's take that same left hand across the body, reaching right hand beside you or behind you as we twist, opening the chest. Feeling like you've got equal movement all the way from your hips up to your head. Equal twist. You're distributing that twist well. One last big inhale here. And exhale as you release that twist. Now let's keep the legs crossed. If you're sitting without your legs crossed, let's come into our Dandasana, sitting with our legs out in front. And we can pick up one leg and cross that one leg. Otherwise, sitting with both legs crossed. We'll do both sides, so don't worry if you're feeling a little asymmetrical. Sitting up nice and tall with a big inhale. As we exhale, feeling like you're tipping forward from the hips. The bend comes from the hips. as we fold it forward. You can keep the hands on the knees or perhaps you reach them out in front of you, gently getting into our hips here. Keeping the gaze slightly in front of you. Starting to soften. To cool down, to slow down. Gently walking those fingertips back toward you. Now we're going to uncross our legs, take them over to the other side. So this is kind of the funny feeling way to cross your legs. Otherwise, if you had one leg extended, you can cross it over. Remembering you can always support under that knee if your knee feels a little bit yucky there. A nice big inhale as you lift up and lengthen. And exhale as you tip it forward. Maybe keeping the hands on the knees, maybe starting to spider the fingertips forward. A few breaths here, knowing that every inhale, every exhale, you are nourishing your body, giving it permission to rest and recover. And then starting to walk the fingertips back towards you, coming to sit up nice and tall. Beautiful job. Let's take our left hand down to the floor as we inhale, reaching up as high as you can. Both hips, both sit bones root down into the mat, and we tip over to the left hand side. Now you can have the palm on the floor, you can start to bend into the elbow. If you're feeling super bendy today, as long as you can keep both sit bones down on the floor, you can maybe even come down onto that forearm. But just remember, if you kind of start to come to the forearm and you lift up through the hip, we lose that beautiful side body stretch. So kind of prioritizing those hips on the floor rather than forearm on the floor. Really reaching up and over. Nice big inhale as you wave it up. Exhale as you bring that hand down. Same thing, other side. Reaching the left hand up. Make lots of length in that side body as much as you can. And then start to tip over. Bending into the elbow, perhaps forearm to floor, perhaps not. Whatever you're feeling today. I know I feel different every day I practice. Some beautiful big breaths into that stretchy, lengthening side body. Awesome work. Let's inhale as we wave it up. Exhale, wave it down. Let's reach the arms directly out in front, taking the right arm under, left arm over. We're going to give ourselves a nice big hug here. Now thinking about really grouping onto the backs of the shoulders and then maybe even walking, wiggling the fingertips a little bit further onto the back body. Let's lift the elbows up so they're pointing directly in front of us. Some big, deep inhales, really feeling like you're expanding out through the back body here. Now you've got the option, if you like, you can stay as you are in this big hug, or you can keep the elbows stacked, release the hands and take the backs of the hands together. You can even keep that wrap going and wrap the bottom fingertips around that top palm. Having a play here with perhaps lowering the elbows. You can do this if you're in your nice hug as well, lifting up the elbows. And again, just finding that sweet spot, that bit where your body goes, oh yeah, that's the stretch. And then you can hang out there for a couple breaths. One last big inhale. And as we exhale, untangling the arms, take a couple rolls through the shoulders. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So reach the arms out in front. This time left arm under, right arm over. Give yourself a nice big hug. Wiggle those fingertips around a little more and then lift up the elbows. Remember, you can stay in your nice hug, or if you like, you can come into your Garudasana arms, eagle arms. Backs of the hands together, or maybe you wrap it around. And having a play here with lowering the elbows, lifting the elbows, finding that perfect spot. I also like to focus on kind of dropping the shoulders here. I get a nice stretch down across the tops of the shoulders. But knowing it might feel a little bit different for you as long as it feels beneficial. One last big inhale. And as you exhale, untangling yourself. Beautiful work. A little roll through the shoulders. And then my favorite part of a cool down sequence, let's come onto our back, lying down on the floor. And let's take a moment, feet about hips distance apart. Bring the arms out nice and wide. You can take them in a cactus shape or reach them out in a T. What we want to focus on here is keeping both shoulder blades, keeping the upper back on the floor. And gently rocking the knees from side to side. You're working with your breath. An inhale as you rock one way and exhale as you rock the other. And taking one more each side. And bringing the knees up through center. Bring the feet about hips distance apart. We're going to grab our right leg, draw it in towards the chest, give it a nice big hug here. You can grab on underneath the knee here, it's a little bit easier to get purchase on. Really pulling that knee in towards the chest, stretching through the glute. And then I'm going to take that floating right ankle and pop it over my left knee, keeping that foot a little bit flexed. And then we rock that knee out to the front. You might like to stay right here, or we can start to sit up, take right hand through the gap in the legs, left hand around the legs as you lift up the left knee and grab onto that knee. Now here, softening the head, the shoulders back towards the floor. If the head and the shoulders don't comfortably kind of sit down on the floor here, we can support underneath the head with a pillow or a block. You're looking for a nice feeling of lengthening in the outer hip of the right hip. One last big inhale. And then as you exhale, gently releasing that grip, bring the foot back down to the floor. Let's uncross the legs, take the same thing on the other side, inhaling, drawing left knee to the chest. Give it a nice big hug. You can always grab onto like the yoga pants here if you can't quite get the hands around. And then I'm going to take that floating ankle, pop it over that right knee, and let the knee fall out towards the front of the mat or away from the body. And then if you choose to continue on, we can do a little sit-up. Reach one hand through the gap, one hand around the knees. You pick it up, grab on, and then relax the head and shoulders back towards the floor. Keeping that breath nice and long. Beautiful work. Gently releasing that grip on the knee. You're going to uncross the legs. Take a little gentle rock from side to side. We're going to place a little bit of weight in our left foot. Pick up the right foot and we're going to cross that knee, kind of knee on top of knee, kind of like you sit chilling at the dinner table. Reaching the arms out to the side. I'm going to rock my knees over to the left. So kind of twisting myself up here. Now if that doesn't feel very comfortable, you can always stack the legs on top of each other and twist. Or if you're feeling pretty good there, you can wrap it all the way around. Focusing on keeping both shoulders on the floor. If you find that your back shoulder comes up a little bit, bring the legs up a little. Looking for a nice feeling of a twist. A really nice cozy thing to do here is pop something underneath the knees, a bolster or a pillow. And then when you're ready, let's bring ourselves up, untangle the legs. Same thing other side, picking up the left leg, cross it over, knee on top of knee or as close to, and then we rock over. Picking your option, maybe you want to bring it back a little bit, stack the legs on top of each other, or maybe we want to step it up a little bit and twist the legs around each other. Now rocking over to the side as feels good. All we're looking for here is a nice twist, so however that looks for you is perfect. Gently using an inhale to bring yourself back up through center, uncrossing the legs. And we're going to take a moment, draw the knees into the chest, and a little rock from side to side. Just a massage through the lower back a little bit, and then if you like, we can start rocking backwards and forwards, up and down the spine. Eventually bringing yourself up to a comfortable seat. We're going to finish off with the legs crossed, but before we finish, we're going to take a moment to bring the legs out in front of us, or feet out in front of us, about hips distance apart. You can even place your hands down on the floor behind you and just take a moment to pick up one foot, put down the other foot, almost like your accelerator brake in the car, moving through the feet, moving through the lower legs. And then I'm a little bit biased because I'm a massage therapist, but we'll take a moment to take hands onto our lower legs. I think a post-workout massage is an amazing thing. And we're literally just kind of like a cat, just squeezing your lower legs. And you can keep this going over your whole body. I'm just going to do my legs and feet. Just kind of getting into any places that feel a bit bleh. Now again, just like our yoga practice, it doesn't have to be painful to be beneficial. Take your hands to your other calf, other shin. We have muscles in the shin too. And just like you're kneading bread, just a little bit of love and attention, intention. And then let's do the same thing. We can do one thumb each foot and you're just pincer gripping, pressing into the soles of the feet. Now a really interesting thing is that touch, especially, I like to do it with my feet. It kind of gets your brain more aware of a certain area. And then doing the same thing with your toes, spreading them out, moving the foot around. Is that after massaging your feet, your brain is like a little bit more aware of the feelings in your feet. So it's a really good thing to actually do before you practice. Helps with proprioception, that's the word of the day. Beautiful. And finishing off, taking your massage all the way up the legs. Coming back to a seated position. We'll finish with the hands in front of the heart. Coming back to that beautiful, calm breath. You might like to lay down and practice a shavasana after your class, or you might be up and ready to go, continue your day after your workout and your quick post-workout yoga. Thank you so much for joining me.